If you're in the production world, you've probably heard the term sizzles and spec spots. Now, why are they important and why do so many people say they're shooting them on their social media? Now, I'm here to break it down for you so we can actually learn what each of them are for and why it's so important within the production world, especially if you're owning a production company or trying to build up your production company. When looking at spec spots or sizzles, what we are really talking about is a short form content that allows a buyer or a production company or a network to see the overall style of your video. When we're trying to pitch projects, when we're trying to build up our client base, there is a lot of competition, especially in video and media companies. There's a lot of us. And a lot of us have very specific styles and tones and ways we work with our clients. And that is usually how we build up a client basis, is because we have an individual look compared to everyone else. Now, when we're talking about sizzles and pro shoots, let's break down some of the ones that CBZ have shot so you're able to also understand why these terms are so important. The overall thing that you need to understand in this video at all really is that both of them go along together to make up a visualization of the style that you're shooting. And that gives people a little addition besides your pitch, besides your verbal pitch, to look a little bit further and see what they're investing their money in to see the visuals that they're getting. That's the baseline of what both of them are. Now, if we take a sizzle is more of an unfinished piece that really just comes across as a tone slash visualizer so people can understand more about your content. When, say, you're pitching a narrative piece, say you're pitching a documentary piece, these are when you're pitching to bigger networks and bigger production companies to try to gain funding for your project so you can pitch it. So if you're pitching a documentary, we've shot a couple with CBZ Productions. So we've done a theater sizzle, and we've done an aviation sizzle, and one has not seen the world and one has seen the world. So sizzles, you have to be prepared that you can only put X amount of money in because they don't always see the light of day. Because in the end of the day, most of the time, they're just for the production companies to look at to see your style. Usually they're fairly unfinished in the way of storyline. It's really just to sell visuals and how you'll shoot and the cinematic style within the videos. Looking into spec spots, now these are kind of a different beast than sizzles because as these spec spots are showing aspects of your cinematography and how you're going to visualize your projects, these more are on the lines of passion projects that you take upon yourself to self-fund and produce a commercial, produce specific videos that you are going to be selling with your clients, with your production companies. So for example, let's take some spec spots that we've produced with CBZ Productions and look at that. In terms of spec spots, where you can look at our short film, Ready or Not. So our short film, Ready or Not, is on our YouTube right now. Make sure you go check that out. That is a narrative spec spot that we created for Void Interactive in hopes that they were interested in further plans of making a narrative piece of their video. Now, when making a spec spot or a sizzle, you have to be prepared that it's going to go nowhere. There are good attributes to have attached to your pitch, but there's no guarantee that they will go further. Taking that Ready or Not sizzle, that is a sizzle that we put together with CBZ Productions. We love the game, we play it a lot, and basically I was like, hey, this has so much potential for a series, for etc. So we came up with a script, we came up with a style, we came up with a tone. I asked my best a group of people we can ask for to put their time and work for free within this project, and let's have some fun. So we did an overnight shoot of this project. It was a 7-minute action short, which is a little bit overambitious for something of that capacity, but it's really up to what you have available. And basically, when you're doing a spec spot, You want to make sure you're putting enough money into that project that it's going to be a version of the best that you can shoot, but there's also leeway. So you can say in these aspects, once we have a budget, we're able to showcase more cinematics here, maybe more VFX here, etc. So when looking at both a sizzle and a spec spot, you want to make sure you're putting your best foot forward. A lot of people will see both of them and say, hey, let's go shoot something quick and send that to the client, and that's that. Really what people should be thinking is, let's make this one version of this short visualization of what we want to pitch the best it possibly can be, because that's going to be what the network sees first, and that's what they're going to base their idea off of, and or client. So with sizzles, you're going to see sizzles a lot more common when actively pitching a show. So if you're pitching a documentary to a network, or you're pitching a narrative to a network, you're going to see them more common, and some networks require you to give a sizzle so they can understand and see what your tone and shooting style actually is going to be. So that's the big thing for sizzles. And the big thing for spec spots is that's more of a passion project, a way to create cool content for your production company that has some bigger brands in it. Say you love an energy drink company and you want to make a spec spot about that. Say you love a car and you want to make a spec spot about that. Making these smaller cinematic commercials and different types of media of bigger brands gives you the opportunity to sell that style and look to other companies while capturing their attention, because the brands are more established. So I hope that helped a little bit. If you guys have questions, please leave them in the comments below. I would love to answer them, and we can dive in a little bit deeper on what the sizzle versus spec spot actually is. I hope this covered a little bit more than other people just saying that they've shot sizzles or shot spec spots, and gives you a little bit more insight on the production creative realm that is filmmaking. So if you guys enjoyed, please hit that like and subscription button below, and we'll get ready for the next video.